Hello, listeners. You're enjoying the sounds of Never Seen It, a podcast about movies that we haven't seen yet. And yes, I'm going to giggle through this intro. I'm your host, Betsy, and with me, as always, is my co-host and my husband. It's Trent.
Flawless.
You always tell me you want me to shake it up, so I've shaken it.
I'm satisfied.
Today, we are making our way, continuing our epic journey of time travel to the 1980s. We are in 1982, and the movie is E.T., the Extra-Terrestrial. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the bread and butter of why we're doing this podcast.
Yeah.
We're finding the movies that are somewhat shocking to the audience that one of us hasn't seen.
This is one of them.
This is one of them. And I'll tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen, it's not me. As per usual, it's not me.
The big ones are usually me.
Who has been missing this movie. Trent, darling dear, 40 years have passed that this movie has graced us with its presence. Mm-hmm. And you have never watched E.T.,
I have
the
never
Extra-Terrestrial.
sat down to watch the entire movie. No, that is correct.
Now, it's unfair to say you've never seen
Parts.
any of it.
Yes. So I was born in 84. This came out in 82. So it would be unfair for me to see it when it was new. So
So if you did, you would have no recollection of it.
Correct. E.T. was something that my cousins who I grew up with were really into. They watched a bunch of those, Spielberg and like a lot of the quintessential 80s movies. Like, I don't know why, but their favorite movie growing up was Uncle Buck. Is a movie I've never seen before.
Isn't that from the 90s?
I don't remember. I think it's 80s.
Or maybe it's like just before. I think it's maybe pre-Home
John
Alone.
Candy was a very big presence in my house and their house.
All right.
But E.T. was not one of them that I was ever exposed to, even though I knew a lot about it. So, obviously it's the alien, obviously it's Spielberg, and the only actor that I know in this movie was a very young Drew Barrymore.
Right.
This was her start.
I think this is her first movie, question mark?
It has to be.
I'm pretty certain it is. She's very young. I think she's like 5 years old or something.
Yeah, she a baby.
Yeah, she's very, very young. And I don't know that there's going to be anybody else you even recognize.
Probably
because
not.
most of these people didn't go on to have these blockbuster careers.
Yeah.
But I think that's part of what makes this movie charming is it's not chock-a-block full of stars.
Yeah, you're not distracted by it. You can have it grounded in this family.
Yeah. So what do you know about the story other than Drew Barrymore and an alien?
Yeah. So it's the alien. I don't think they ever give him a name. He shows up one day. Elliot is the kid. There are Reese's Pieces. And there's like government agents trying to find the alien. And he wants to go home. That's the gist of what I know about this movie.
So you basically...
I don't know how they got there. I don't know how they get back. I know they ride the bike over the moon.
They ride the bike over the moon.
Yeah.
It's the logo
Like
for
all of-
Evelyn Entertainment.
Yeah, it's
to this day.
Yeah, it's the zeitgeist things that I'm aware of, but like the story from beat to beat, from beginning to end, I have no idea.
And this is a very early Steven Spielberg movie. Not his earliest, but certainly
it's the
amongst
thing that
them.
made Spielberg be on the map for the general public.
Certainly in the 1980s. Like,
Yeah.
he kind of showed up for a couple of things, Jaws, stuff like that.
Yeah.
In the 1970s.
Yeah.
He made Indiana Jones with Lucas
Right.
in 1980.
He and George Lucas were very much partners in this era because he and him both came up in the same era.
Right. One of them stuck with Star Wars, and the other one is Steven Spielberg.
Right. Yeah, one of them kind of stuck with their original idea and didn't really branch out much past that. And the other one is Steven Spielberg, who everybody knows one of his movies.
Well, and we could talk at length about George Lucas because, he kind of got into technology and that became more of his thing.
Yeah.
What is it? Skywalker Sound?
Skywalker Sound and ILM.
And ILM,
were his two and I would say those two companies probably contributed more to the film industry than the Star Wars films alone ever did. Because Skywalker Sound is used by a whole lot of different companies Not just film, by the way. It's video games and TV shows use Skywalker sound. And ILM, again, is employed by a lot of different studios to do their CG work, because they're very good.
See, guys, we can always find a way to make these episodes about Star Wars.
Of course!
But when we're not talking about Star Wars, we're talking about Spielberg. So
Yeah.
this is not the first Spielberg movie we've watched. We did watch West Side Story earlier this year when it was up for an Academy Award. Have we watched any other ones? None immediately are coming to mind.
I don't think so.
He was involved with The Goonies, but he didn't
Sure.
direct it.
Yeah. I can't really think of too many other Spielberg movies that we've watched for the show anyway.
Yes, I can't. We've certainly seen about. Oh no, I just thought of it. Ready Player One.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
such a variety of his movies that I
Yeah.
kind of forget sometimes that, oh yeah, that's a Steven
Right.
Spielberg thing.
And Steven Spielberg doesn't really have a genre. He doesn't really have you can't point to a movie and immediately think, oh, that's a Spielberg joint.
And yet somehow you can. There is an air about his movies.
But only while you're watching it.
Right. When you're watching it, you know. When you're like rattling off a list, it's
Yeah.
harder to pinpoint. But there's always a lot of heart, I
Yeah.
feel like, in
He
his
doesn't have a
movies.
genre. But he's really never going to do a whole lot of like hard R movies.
No.
For the most part, his stuff is very family friendly, family oriented,
Grounded.
Grounded, exactly.
And this is going to be a really good example of that. I think you know enough about what it is we're going to go see, how you've managed to go your entire adult life and survived, 100 different movie buffs not cramming you into a room, locking the door, and making you watch this. You get to experience it for the first time with yours truly. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go and watch E.T. the Extra-Terrestrial. We will be right back. And we're back. All right, Trent, that was E.T. the Extra-Terrestrial, or as I like to call it, E.T. the E.T., because that is what this is.
Okay.
E.T. stands for Extraterrestrial. Why a child would know that, I don't know.
No.
But in any case, you have now seen it.
Yeah.
What is your immediate reaction?
I get it. That was incredible. It was really good.
Yeah, it's so quintessential Steven Spielberg, John Williams.
John Williams, good God, man.
It's like real hard-hitting nostalgia about being
Yeah.
a kid in the 80s.
But you know what? Actually, it is timeless, though.
It really also is, because
Yeah.
there's not a whole lot of technology to date it.
Yeah.
And it's just a simple story about a little boy who finds an alien.
And with all of the stuff about Stranger Things in the past few years, this stuff is very much in vogue now.
I was going to say, if you didn't say it, the first time, listen, Trent and I have seen the first season
Yes.
of Stranger Things.
Yes.
We have
and
not,
we enjoyed it. We enjoyed it.
we have not watched anything beyond that. It took us a year
Yes.
to watch the first season. We'll get to it eventually.
Maybe.
But watching that show the first time, all I kept thinking about was E.T.
Yeah.
And I haven't watched E.T. in many years. And watching it now, I was like, wow, yeah, the whole Stranger Things vibe is just really hitting me hard today.
And yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking about here. And with all of the brands, there's so many brands all over this movie. And whether that's intentional or not, it doesn't matter, but it just gives the movie that much more character.
I think it is intentional simply because of one particular product,
Well, yeah.
and that would be Reese's Pieces.
Yes.
Reese's Pieces.
Reese's Pieces.
Reese's Pieces. There is some contention about how to say it, but that is the correct way.
At least you don't say Reese's Pieces.
No, don't do that. That's wrong. So the thing about that, they were the second choice. They asked M&M's.
Yeah.
And M&M's said no.
Bad move.
And
Bad move.
They immediately regretted it when this movie exploded. And Reese's Pieces was like a podunk candy.
Right.
Back in those days. And now this is what you always think about when you think of that
Reese's
candy.
Pieces about this movie. Yeah.
Right. And you've never seen this movie.
No. Well, the other thing was, well, they reference it in Family Guy. The only thing I've ever seen, like referencing this thing about the Reese's Pieces, they try to get James Woods into a thing. They try to lead him somewhere.
Him in a box.
Trying to trap
him in a box.
And they put the little pieces of candy in a row, saying, "Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy." And that's what I said while we were watching. That's exactly what was happening.
You know, if it was Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, that would work for you. I could lure you somewhere.
I like Reese's Pieces just fine.
So if I leave little piles of candy around, you're going to follow me?
I would get upset. I would get upset that you were wasting candy, but I would still eat them.
You're like, please put them on a plate if you're going to leave them around for me.
Just put them in my mouth.
Well, yes, but I'm trying to lure you in. I need to leave a
Just
trail.
ask me saying, "Hey, Trent, I got Reese's Pieces over here."
Follow. Hey, Trent, shake the bag. Shake the bag.
Anyway,
yes, there's a lot of other just 1980s products.
Yeah. And none of them are really like anachronistic to 1982. It's just like the logo treatments on everything.
Oh yeah, the old like Coors cans
the
with
pop
the pop top.
The pop top Coors cans. Like the old logos of like their TV was a Toshiba. I haven't seen a Toshiba TV for
I was gonna say
like 2 decades.
That's a name I haven't heard in a very long time.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of that stuff here, but again, that's definitely not integral to the plot. The only brand that really matters is the Reese's Pieces.
Well, and there is technically, I don't know if you call it a brand, but a property that gets thrown around a lot in this movie that I, as a child, didn't process. But watching it now, I'm
everywhere.
like, oh my God. The flagrant use of Star Wars references. So if we hadn't made one in the intro, we sure could have done it in the episode.
Oh, yeah.
Because like Elliot is showing E.T. around his room and he's showing him his toys and he's like, and this is Greedo and this is Boba Fett.
And Lando.
And they're little toys and they can fight.
He's got a little TIE fighter figure on a shelf that I don't think you even saw.
I didn't even see it.
Yeah,
no.
He's got a TIE fighter on his shelf. Later on, there's a kid in a Yoda costume. Just blatant.
Well, and his brother talks like Yoda.
Yes.
At one point in the movie.
Yes.
And these are things that as a kid, I probably like processed but didn't really think about the significance of them.
Yep.
Like I knew who Yoda was. I knew Star Wars. I don't remember ever not knowing Star Wars.
And these two movies are only 5 years apart. Think about that.
Yeah. And it's so present day
Yeah.
that these are kids who would have been obsessed with Star Wars.
Yeah.
So that is how grounded and realistic Mr. Steven Spielberg was trying to make this movie.
Well, and of course, we mentioned it in the intro. These George Lucas and Spielberg worked a lot together. In fact, I also mentioned ILM, Industrial Light and Magic, which was the George Lucasfilm effects house. They did the effects for this movie.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of the effects, especially near the end of the movie, were not very good.
But now, in retrospect, now they don't look very good.
Right.
We're also watching the 4K cut of this movie.
Yes, and when you put that much detail into it, it just kind of doesn't hold up. But that's okay. It's 1982. I don't expect magic.
No. Haha, see, it's the name of the company. Anyway, there's also another thing about this movie that I was watching for that I remembered and I wasn't sure if I was going to pick up on it. But I looked into it more and I found out why. So in the way that George Lucas in the early 2000s, he touched Star Wars. He touched it. He edited it. He made some changes.
Sure.
Much to the chagrin of fans everywhere, especially since you can't get the original theatrical cut any longer.
Fine.
Same thing as that, in the same time frame for the 20th anniversary of E.T., Steven Spielberg used digital touching up.
Fuckery.
Digital fuckery to change the guns in the agent's hands to walkie-talkies.
Oh, I think I did hear about this.
And he ultimately regretted it. Unlike George Lucas, who was like, fuck all the fans, I'm leaving it the way I want it.
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg actually had second thoughts about that completely.
Okay.
And went back and changed it. Because in this movie, those guys are carrying guns.
Okay.
At the end of the movie, his mom is screaming, no guns, they're children. And there were men brandishing guns.
Well, and I didn't really see like handguns in the movie. I didn't notice them anyway. But at the end, he is absolutely brandishing a shotgun.
Right. The men all have handguns.
Okay.
When they're... After they load up the van and escape with E.T. and they say, meet us in the park to their friends, they find the van empty and all of the men have guns.
Okay, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, and his mom is literally yelling, no guns, they're children. But this is a scene that I assume he's talking about, that he had them touch it up and take the guns out and replace them with walkie-talkies.
Then why even have the scene?
Oh, exactly.
Why don't you just take the entire scene out?
Or you have to take that line out, too, because now it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But he ultimately regretted it and changed it back, which is why it looked like that in this movie.
Okay.
But I was waiting for it. I was like, wait, I'm remembering this now. He touched this movie up.
Yeah.
But he took it back out.
Yeah, I do remember something about that.
So there you go. Even Spielberg has dabbled in that, speaking of special effects. But this won for special effects at the Academy Awards. This got nominated for a buttload of Academy Awards.
I can see why.
And it was included in Best Picture. It won. John Williams fucking won, which this is an amazing score. Like, of the John Williams scores, they're all amazing.
Yes.
But there are some, like, really top tier ones.
And you could absolutely tell that he was very much in this era. There are different eras of John Williams, and I totally got Star Wars vibes out of all of this stuff because it's the same orchestra that he is conducting.
Yeah.
With the same instruments and the same tuning.
They speak the same language.
Recording, the same recording of it, because even that is very important for this era. If you were to have John Williams conduct the exact same orchestra with the exact same instruments as he did in 1977 or whenever he recorded those, it would sound different today because you're recording it with better equipment.
Different equipment.
Yeah.
But he won for this movie. This was also the first year that they had special effects categories.
Sure,
which makes sense because Star Wars, I think, won a special award for special effects because they didn't have one.
No.
But after that, there was kind of a catalyst to get one.
Yeah.
And this is only 5 years after Star Wars came out.
It was a huge land rush to try to get, okay, what can we do to look like Star Wars? Mm-hmm. And the same thing happened after E.T. What can we do to capture that E.T. magic?
So, yeah, this movie got nominated for... and won the first, like, special effects, visual effects, sound categories that existed.
There's so many movies trying to do that.
Well, now there are.
Well, but in 5 years between Star Wars and E.T., a lot of different studios have really tried to catch up.
Well, and they still have those categories. Like, visual effects, that's like all movies are now.
True.
To some extent. And I always appreciate the movies that... do it for real.
Yeah, because special effects doesn't mean best CG.
No. And if you look at a movie like Mad Max Fury Road, where they did most of those stunts and then just touched it up.
Practical.
That's what they had to do in these days.
Yeah.
But they had a little bit of scenery where it's like the balls flying in the air.
Sure.
That was fake.
Yeah.
And the spaceship, obviously they needed a spaceship.
Yeah.
And the children flying on their bicycles.
Yeah.
So there's some cool stuff in here, and you take for granted that in 1982, that was like a fucking moment. Imagine being a small child watching this movie in the theater.
Yeah.
And you're hearing the swell of that fucking John Williams score.
Yeah.
And then Elliot takes off in front of the moon.
Right.
Like, you would be flipping out. Like, it's such a simple little thing now. We just take it for granted how unique this was.
And like now, you know that movies can be anything. You've seen however many Marvel movies. You've seen however many Star Wars movies. You're used to the fact that you can see pretty much anything on the screen. In 1982, if you saw something like this, it was very unique. Think about even The Wizard of Oz going all the way back then when you could see all these colors. You didn't see colors back then on the big screen at all.
Not that way. Certainly.
Yeah.
Not the way they do it there so intentionally where it's black and white and then you open a door and it's like, wow!
Yeah. I want to go back to the moon scene on the bikes. So I had the thought while we were watching it, okay, I want to know if there was like the committee that sat down to decide the question of whether or not Elliot should be pedaling the bike or not.
I had that thought. I hadn't, like I said, watched this in a while. And it's funny the things I notice now as an adult that I never considered before.
Yeah.
Especially now that we're doing this podcast and I'm kind of watching it with more of an analytical eye.
Yes.
Yes, he is pedaling the bike.
Yeah.
Mid-air. Which he doesn't need to do.
No. But you know what? I think it looks better because that's what a kid would do.
Well, it also would look really fake and stupid if he was just still. It would just look like a stationary thing. It would just look like a
stick in front of a light.
Yeah, like I could do that. Whee!
Yeah.
Whee! I'm flying over the moon.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking there. Like, oh, that had to be some fucking committee that went through 5 different revisions of this scene when they finally decided on, oh, no, he needs to be pedaling the bike.
He needs to pedal the bike.
All right.
But if anything makes you think of this movie, it's a red hoodie.
I guess.
Kids in red hoodies.
But you know what? When we were watching this, I didn't know this was going to be taking place on Halloween or near Halloween. I had no idea that the kid was in makeup. Like, I've seen that scene plenty of times in my life over the past 30 years.
The gray, like, paint on his face?
Yes. I had no idea that he had paint on his face.
Well, for the Halloween scene, yes. When he's flying over the moon, you mean?
Yes, that one.
Okay, got it. Now I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's just because it's kind of nighttime or they touch it up or they just don't show that
the
part.
Fact that we see such a good quality version here. We rented the 4K version.
Maybe.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, it was little details like that. The fact that he has rainbow-colored shades in his bedroom.
That's so cool.
I never noticed that before, but he like shuts the blinds to bring E.T. out.
Yeah, they're a multicolored
and the whole
Venetian blinds.
The whole room fills with like color, like stained glass, like in a church window.
Yeah.
And there's so much like warm light in this. Mm-hmm. It just looks so good in 4K.
Yes.
Minus, the now what looks a little bit cheesy special effects at the end. But
sure.
I can give that a pass.
I dismissed that. That's not a big deal.
That's not a big deal. So another little detail that I hadn't really considered or really processed growing up is the significance of his mom reading Peter Pan to his little sister.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. I don't know what they were reading.
She said Tinkerbell. It was all about the scene where Peter Pan is about to be poisoned. Captain Hook has poisoned his medicine. Okay. And instead of letting him die, Tinkerbell drinks the medicine and she dies. But that's where if you believe in fairies, clap your hands. And it brings her back to life.
Okay, I haven't seen a Peter Pan thing for a long time.
Okay, but that is what they're reading.
All right.
And I didn't think much about it while she was reading it, but I was like, oh, she's reading her Peter Pan. But then I was thinking about it. You've got this magical creature who's leading these children flying through the air. Yep. And it's all about like being young and magic and hope. And, he's connected to this creature. I was like, there's kind of some similarities
here. There's a little bit there.
The spirit of being young, I guess. Yeah. That's the whole theme of Peter Pan. and how time is going to get us all. And
Got dark there, Betsy.
well, it's true. That's what Peter Pan is about.
It's true.
But this little boy, like, I think maybe it's just the flying element that really struck me.
Yeah, I get it.
And do you believe in fairies? And these children just wish so hard that he isn't dead at the end of the movie. Spoiler, guys, again, he dies. E.T. dies, but then he comes back to life.
Betsy?
Yeah, try it.
Is E.T. Jesus?
I mean, there is that scene where he's in the back of the van and he's wrapped in a cloak with his arms outstretched and he's got a glowing red heart. Sure as fuck looked like some Jesus symbolism to me.
Oh, fuck.
Like, I wrote down in my notes, E.T. standing here looking like Jesus. It's the Sacred Heart thing. Like, if you've ever seen those where it's like a heart on fire.
No.
And that's like a in religious iconography, in Catholicism in particular, the Sacred Heart is a heart surrounded in flames.
Okay.
But it's in the center of the chest. And that is not a mistake to have E.T. with this glowing red heart. And he's just been resurrected. And he's wearing a white robe. And he's like standing with his arms outstretched. That was not a mistake.
All right. E.T. is Jesus. That's canon.
There you go.
All right. I want to go back to just kind of the presentation of the movie. Because, again, this is actually 1982. This isn't some fucking, like, retro thing like Stranger Things.
No,
they're just
present
throwing
day.
in old stuff. This is very much present day. And I guess the movie starts off with a bunch of teenagers sitting at a table under a magnificent lamp. Did you notice that? The stained glass lamp?
The 1980s Pizza Hut looking
It's
lamp.
kind of like the Pizza Hut lamp.
It's a Tiffany lamp is
God
probably what
damn it,
it
I want
is.
one of those Pizza Hut lamps, Betsy.
I
want to put it in this room.
Listeners, if you know what we're talking about, just look up Pizza Hut 1980s
Lamp.
stained glass lamp. And if you can get us one, you will
Hook us up.
Hook us up.
Hook
You
us
will
up.
be our favorite person for the rest of eternity.
Anyway, so they're playing like a D&D type game. I don't think they're actually playing a D&D game.
They're not, but it's sort of modeled after that.
Yeah, because
so
I think
there's like
there's
a
like a
game master.
reference to a Dungeon Master / Game Master, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Which, again, this is very much the Stranger Things connection.
The first like 10, 20
It's
minutes
ridiculous.
is really hard and heavy.
Yeah, so it's all the teenage boys playing, and Elliot's in the background because he wants to play. And they say something about, yeah, order a pizza, we're hungry. And we're getting this idea here that because Mom is also there, we're getting this hint that, it's just Mom. There's no Dad in the picture here.
Correct.
In 1982, we've talked about this before in another movie. I don't remember which one. But it's very rare to really depict a family of, like, divorced parents.
And they actually say in this movie, they're recently separated. They're not even divorced.
Separated, yes. They're not divorced, but she's not wearing a wedding ring
And
anymore.
Dad is in Mexico with Sally.
Sally.
Whoever that is.
That skink.
Homewrecker is what more like it.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that too. When I was a kid, I definitely didn't pick up on the whole divorce thing because as like a 7-year-old watching this movie.
And they only reference it twice.
They really do. As like 7, 8 years old, I didn't understand the concept of divorce. I didn't know any divorced people. I hadn't seen a lot of media that represented what divorce was. It hadn't been explained to me. So the whole movie, I was trying to figure out where Dad was. My little brain is trying to fill out the puzzle.
Yeah.
I always thought the agent who shows up at the end was Dad. Like, I genuinely, as a child, thought that. I don't know why. Watching it now, it's like there is literally nothing to suggest that.
And he is literally the first male adult face that you see in the entire movie.
Yeah.
The entire movie. He's the first one.
Yes,
And then the rest of the other people get revealed and whatever. But yeah, he's the first one.
there's some fantastic filmmaking going on here. And Spielberg did this before. He has done this in a couple of movies.
It's the Charlie Brown effect.
In particular, he did this in Indiana Jones, where he spends a long time introducing characters without showing you their face. Like the first time you meet Indiana Jones, You don't see his face for the first couple of minutes, and then he comes out of the shadows. This movie, you're right, it's a kid-centric movie. The only person that matters in their life, in their world, is their mother.
Of course.
And all of the other people are sort of irrelevant.
It's all their friends and their classmates.
Their teacher doesn't get a face.
Exactly. You don't see the teacher's face. It is a dude, but you never see his face.
So here's another fact about this. Initially, his teacher was going to be Harrison Ford.
No shit.
They were going to have him in there, and they actually, I think, filmed the scenes. But ultimately, after they successfully launched Star Wars, and this is, a couple of years after the second one, and it was becoming such a huge cultural thing, they were like, that's going to be really distracting and not contribute in any positive way to this movie. So they cut it all.
Yeah.
And they just have this faceless, nameless man as his teacher.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad they did, because
Totally.
in 1982, that absolutely would have been, like, imagine the uproar in the theater if Han Solo came up on stage, if Indiana Jones showed up.
Right.
In this little movie with nobody of significance.
You would be talking about that.
You would be talking about that and nothing else.
Yeah.
It would have been the most ill-timed cameo to ruin a movie.
Even if they didn't show his face but it was clearly him, it still would have been a distraction.
Yeah. So I'm glad they didn't do that, but there's a little nugget for you.
All right. But back to the house. So we get Elliot going out to get the pizza from the pizza man, which, okay, how old is Elliot, do you think?
I would say he's somewhere around 10, 11, 12.
Really? That old?
I
would
know.
say he's closer to like 7 or 8, but maybe.
No, he's older than that.
Okay, let's call him 10.
We don't have children. I don't know.
I don't know
he's
how
42.
old kids are. Anyway, for him, I would you go out and greet the pizza man and give him the money? I wouldn't when I was that age.
Listen, we were talking about this the other day. We went out to dinner with some friends.
Yes.
And their daughter is in the 2nd grade, and she looked dead in that waitress's face, and she was like, "Do you have Sprite? I would like a Sprite." Like, she ordered for herself.
She orders for herself. I would never do that. And I told her straight up, good for you, because when I was your age, I would never talk to the waitresses.
And I think that's another element of Elliot's the middle kid.
Yeah.
He is in a, dad's not around.
Yep.
They kind of have to step up. Like, they say they're all rotating, like, who sets up for breakfast,
Right.
who puts the dishes away, who does the dishes.
And this is a recent thing.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so I think it's more, he's kind of starting to grow up because he has to.
Okay.
So
That
when they're
makes
like,
more sense.
go pay the pizza man, he goes and pays the pizza man.
Yeah, he may
But
not
then mom
want
gets
to.
mad because they weren't supposed to order
Who
a pizza.
told you could order pizza? They use their own money.
Yeah.
Shut up. But yeah, just a couple other details about the house before we move on. When the kids kind of all go out to the backyard where the tool shed is and all the other teenagers go out there, you could see some of the clothing that everybody was wearing. And sure enough, in 1982, bell bottoms are still a thing.
Because this is the early 80s,
Yeah.
which is basically still the late 70s.
Still the late 70s, and kids that age would still probably be into stuff like that, maybe? I don't know.
Well, part of it could also be circumstantial because maybe they're wearing older clothes.
Yeah.
Like they're not a super wealthy family. Dad is out of the picture. They have one car.
Well, I don't know about the wealthy family thing because this neighborhood is incredible. But by the way, this is LA.
This is LA, or one of the many, many towns surrounding LA.
They filmed this in Culver City, which is a suburb of LA.
But you could also get a lot more bang for your buck in 1982.
You're right. But this is kind of a newer development, and like it's the whole thing about these are all brand new houses. There's no trees anywhere. I hate houses that don't have trees.
I hadn't considered that, but you're right. This is a brand new development.
Yeah,
because there's not a tree in sight.
No,
not that there would necessarily be that many. It is California. You're gonna get like palm trees if you get anything.
Still, you need to have something there. But anyway, that's just my little pet peeve about these neighborhoods. But yeah, this neighborhood is just weird. It's set up weird. It's like an ultra cul-de-sac that just keeps on going.
Windy roads.
Yeah, how the hell do you get out of this place?
You don't. You're there forever.
I can never leave California.
This is actually a labyrinth, which is why they only go to school and back, and the oldest boy doesn't know how to get anywhere. Not that he doesn't, know how to drive and has never driven there. It's because there is no way.
That's true.
It's a maze.
Also, one last thing about the house. There's a cornfield in their backyard.
That is a little bit strange. I don't quite understand the layout here because they are in a hill. So they're on a hill. They show their house many times. They have to go up a hill to get to the driveway.
I think about the Hollywood Hills. There's so many different hills around LA.
And then behind their house is another hill because there's a fence and a garbage can. But then next to their house is a cornfield. Don't understand the cornfield. Like, I would understand if this was like Indiana, like if we went full Stranger Things, but this is California and they say it many times.
Right. And I understand that you have the scene with Elliot and E.T. finding each other and screaming at each other. And I understand that there's maybe a little bit extra of a reaction there because it is kind of creepy in a cornfield. But other than the Children of the Corn reference, I don't know if that needed to be there. It's just weird. Why is there a cornfield?
Yeah, I don't know. Or just to demonstrate
signify
the time
the season?
of year. Yeah.
Yeah, to signify the season.
Yep.
But I wouldn't know that unless I lived in this part of the country too.
Where we have corn. Lots of it.
We have corn, and that's what corn looks like in late September and October.
It hasn't been harvested yet.
Yeah.
So speaking of creepy, when I was a kid, this movie scared me.
Yeah.
Like, this was a scary movie in many parts. Like, I didn't like the beginning, I didn't like the middle, and I didn't like the end.
The end, especially with all the fucking NASA dudes coming up.
Faceless NASA astronauts coming in, and there's this spooky music, and there's a lot of dark and shadows, and you don't see even E.T. for a long time. You just see, like, fingers coming out around things. This is a creepy movie if you're a kid.
Yeah, and I wrote down in my notes, like, geez, this is starting out really creepy. With him in the woods and the faceless men all with their flashlights chasing after these aliens.
And there's just light and keys jangling and they're all mystery men. And maybe that's what was so scary about it is you don't know who anybody is.
Yeah.
And especially as a child, you need faces. You need to know who people are. You're told about stranger danger all the time.
Right.
And these are like the biggest strangers because you don't even have a face to go with it.
Yeah.
They could be anybody, and there's like surveillance vans listening in on conversations. I don't honestly remember them being astronauts specifically. I remember guys in like suits.
Sure.
I do not remember astronauts coming into that house.
It straight up says NASA on their suits.
Yeah. Why?
I don't know.
Like, is it just because those are accessible to them to be able to enter this foreign environment that could be contaminated?
That's the only thing I can think of.
I guess, but it's very dramatic when 4 astronauts start busting in and you just hear the Darth Vader breathing, basically.
Well, even like the guy coming through the window.
Yeah.
And the mother is like screaming, "Get out of my house!" Oh my God.
There's so much screaming.
That
in
is
this
crazy.
Movie. Yeah, this was not an easy movie for me to watch as a kid. Like, I've seen this many, many times, and I could always get through it because once I got through it, I knew
you know what's going to come.
Happen.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember the first time I saw this. As far as I'm concerned, I have never not seen this movie. This is one that we had on VHS back in the days where buying a VCR was the new thing, and there was a limited number of movies you could get, but this was one of them you could get. That was widely available.
Sure. And I'm sure this was probably one of the first ones that they put out.
Absolutely. Because when did that come out? 85, 86, something like that?
I mean, VHS, home VHS started in the early to mid 80s, yes. So by late 80s, it started to become more affordable for families, like lower class families, to be able to afford them.
I suppose. But yeah, we had this movie, and I have seen it many, 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 many times. And I think I can get through it because the other parts where like E.T. is getting drunk and he's wandering around in a bathrobe and running into walls and dressed in drag.
Right.
Give the man his dignity. Like, there's so many funny moments and
Yeah,
like,
this movie's hilarious.
Things with the kids, like you laughed when he's like, "Shut up, penis breath."
Shut up, penis breath. And the mom laughs and says, "Don't say that.
Don't do that. No, that's bad." Yeah, there's
shit.
a lot of funny kids being kids in this.
Yeah, and before we even started doing this, I was questioning just a little bit whether or not I had ever seen this. And I watched this very intently, taking a lot of notes here. And no, I've never seen this movie. I thought I might have. I thought
It's
by the time I
because-
started to watch it or got into the middle of it, maybe I saw. No, nothing.
None of this was ringing a bell, so you definitely hadn't seen this until today.
Yeah.
I understand you thinking that, though, because there are certain movies, if you watched them when you were a kid, how the hell would you remember?
Exactly. And even if it was like an on TV movie, I never sat down to watch it. Because I'm sure this movie's been on TV many, many times.
Well, there's a lot of movies I remember going to in the theater, but I can't remember a damn thing about seeing it. Like, I don't
Sure.
remember the movie. I just remember the act of going.
Yeah.
That's the part of the evening I remember.
Right. I remember going for my birthday, I went to see The Lost World Jurassic Park without ever seeing the original Jurassic
And
Park.
you would have been like a teenager when that came out. And I think that came out in 1997, question mark?
So 97, oh shit, yeah, I would have been turning 13. If that was the case, I don't remember exactly what year it was, but yeah. Huh. Anyway, but yes, you're right. I remember going to see that movie, but I don't remember a damn thing about the movie. I remember going to the theater and going bowling afterwards.
Oh, geez, you had to go to a movie and bowling for your birthday?
Yeah.
Weren't you fancy?
It helps to have a parent that works at a bowling alley.
Okay, that is true. That's fair. You just could go and hang out with your dad at the bowling alley.
Probably. Anyway. Oh yeah, one more thing about the house that I almost forgot. In the scene where they're cleaning up after dinner, Elliot is at the sink and he turns on the water and almost immediately there's steam just emanating from the sink.
The water's so hot, Trent.
In 1982, hot water heaters are much, much better.
They built things to last in those days,
They
Trent.
really did. Just ask us, who just had to replace a water heater a couple of weeks ago.
Versus our old house where, as far as we know, the old
Yeah.
one is still there and it was older than you.
Yeah, I bought that house in 2009, and the water heater in that house was put in before I was born.
And it still worked great.
It still worked fine when we left in 2015.
Well, talking about things built to last, you should talk to my grandma, who has a deep freeze
Yeah.
that was a wedding present.
Oh my god.
My grandma's 90, guys.
Yep.
My grandma was married in her early 20s.
Uh-huh.
That fucker's still kicking. Like, I swear to God, you could, like, it will survive a nuclear disaster.
That's your bomb shelter right there.
I'm not even kidding. It's probably lined with lead, and I'm gonna die
Sure.
one day because I've been exposed to it.
You're playing it playing around it when you were a kid, right?
Probably. I mean, it was in the basement. She's got like a creepy, unfinished cellar kind of a basement, so
Yeah.
I wasn't around it that much.
Anyway, so that's it about the house. But speaking of like this era and whatnot, we mentioned it before, but the scene at the school where they're gonna dissect the frogs.
Oh, that was weird.
I remember having to do dissections, but I do not remember it being anything like this, where you bring live fucking frogs into the classroom with these children. These are children.
Yeah, these kids are too young to be dissecting things.
And not only that, you have to see them pass out from fucking chloroform.
So they're living.
Yeah, you can see them living. They're hopping around. You put a little cotton thing of chloroform in there. You get to see them pass out, and then you get to dissect them alive.
Yeah, we got cadavers.
Yeah.
I mean,
These
they
things
are
that
dead.
I got
Yeah.
were already dead and already ready to go.
Yeah, and maybe it's just because they didn't have those in 1982. Maybe it's because a lot of, like, animal rights groups got their way, in the very least as far as like movies are concerned, because that is a really traumatic thing. Again, as a kid, I didn't know what chloroform was.
Yeah.
But it's just like, so we're gonna make the frog pass out and we're gonna kill the frog?
That's fucked up.
We're gonna kill the frog.
That's fucked up.
Like, it's
I did not like that scene at all.
It's one thing to cut up the frog. It's another to kill the frog.
Right. You're asking these children to kill this living creature.
Yeah.
No.
Unless the chloroform actually kills it, because...
No. Well, I guess. If it's on a little cotton swab, it's not going to kill it. It is going to have it pass out.
I know, but that's really twisted.
Yeah.
These children would be... like serious PTSD from science class.
But
I wouldn't participate. Elliot, set them free. I am with you, son.
Hell yeah. But I like, speaking of that scene, there was one of the girls in that scene.
The pretty girl.
The pretty girl, quote unquote. I think is how she's actually credited here. Mm-hmm. The blonde girl apparently was in Baywatch.
Yeah, I remembered vaguely.
I asked Betsy to look her up.
You said she looks familiar, but as an adult. And I was like, I do remember, I think this person was somewhat famous. Yeah, she was on Baywatch, like a lot. She's in like 45 episodes of Baywatch.
Okay, I never watched Baywatch, but I've at least seen her face.
Yes. Or you've seen her in commercials for Baywatch.
Right.
It was in syndication. It was on all the goddamn time.
Of course. Anyway, so also in this same scene, it's revealed that, okay, these two characters are connected. E.T. and Elliot are connected somehow because E.T.'s back of the house and he's going through the refrigerator, which, by the way, I have seen that refrigerator.
Everyone
Exact
had that
one.
Refrigerator.
Yeah, I've seen that exact one in my life. But, like, he's going through all this stuff, getting drunk. He found the Coors, and he started to get drunk, and Elliot is in the classroom, burping and, like, slumping down in his chair, and... for a kid actor, that looks pretty good being drunk.
So they sort of touch on it a little earlier, but this is where they really solidify it, that Elliot feels what E.T. feels. They are connected emotionally. Like at the end of the movie, when they're both not doing well, they're tied together to the point their brain waves are synchronized.
Yes.
Like when they're monitoring them on the equipment.
Yep.
But in the school scene, Elliot is like slumping in his chair, as you said. E.T. runs into a door frame and hurts his head, and Elliot reaches up and like touches his eye. It's like, why does that hurt? That's interesting.
Yeah.
And that's just to demonstrate just how close these two are, and kind of, again, is this another E.T. as Jesus sort of thing? Like, they're emotionally connected. He can fly. He can do magic and bring things back from the dead. It's a whole thing.
Oh God, back to that.
Well, I didn't think about it before. He can also, probably turn water into wine. He can fly, and he heals people.
Yeah, we didn't see him walk on water, so...
yet. He's got little legs, but he runs really fucking fast.
He just disappears on occasion.
I don't quite understand the biology of E.T.
No.
He has really long arms.
Really long neck.
Well, he has a compactable neck that gets really long. Do his feet do the same thing? Because how else does he run so fast?
I don't know.
I feel like it would be really convenient if he could stretch out his whole body and he would be proportional.
He also wouldn't be able to climb stairs or even like descend stairs.
He has no knees.
Right. I don't know how that works, but it's not that kind of a movie.
Let me just ask you that question. What do you think of E.T., the being?
The being E.T. I don't know what you're asking because...
how he looks.
I think the puppet...
character, puppet.
The puppet looks incredible. I think there's a whole lot of work that went into that, and it helps that they showed him in shadow a lot, but there were a few scenes here where you got a really good look at him, and like all of the different mechanisms inside his face, you can see it all moving, and like there's like bladders in his
like his
body.
Brain moves and his eye twitches.
And there's mouth little goes up and down.
Small movements.
Yes. For 82, that looks really, really good.
And I said it before and I will say it again. Just because you can computer generate something in entirety doesn't always mean you should. E.T., out of necessity, is a puppet.
Yes.
But he's an amazing puppet.
So is Yoda.
So is Yoda. If they made this movie today, E.T. would be completely computer generated and it would lose so much of the magic.
Yes.
Because he wouldn't really be there. The kids couldn't see him. To the point, Drew Barrymore, little bitty baby Drew Barrymore, thought E.T. was real. And at the end of the movie, when she's crying and saying goodbye, it's because she really thought he was going away.
Oh, no.
Because she was so little and she didn't quite understand what was going on.
Yeah.
That is fucking devastating. Yeah. And that just demonstrates how real E.T. looked to her.
Totally. I agree with everything that you said and about practical effects and practical puppets and things like that. It is very important for the realism, especially for kids' movies, because kids are smart. Kids know when things are fake. Kids know when something is CG and whether it's real or not. That's real. You can reach out and touch that.
You can
thing.
see it and touch it. You can hear its little pig breathing.
I would say that's more of a cat purring more than a pig.
There's some of that, but it's also that like short-nosed pugged thing.
Yes.
Where it's like, and can't really breathe.
Sure. But I would say it sounds more like a cat when it's purring.
There is a lot of that. I did get that too.
But.
All right. Well, I think we touched on most of what we want to talk about as far as the actual movie is concerned. Yeah. There are two things I still want to cover, and they're, I guess, what do you call it? The legacy, the impact of this movie. One of them I would like for you to tell our audience about, and that is the tie-in video game for this movie.
Indeed.
Trent, you know about this, and you knew about this well before this movie came out.
Oh, yes.
Please enlighten our listeners as to the existence and
a little bit of a backstory.
The infamy of the E.T. video game.
Okay, I was not prepared for this. Betsy did not tell me about that I was going to be telling the
I just
story.
thought about this, but I know you can tell it because you know it.
Yes. So this came out in 1982. What was very popular in the 80s? Video games. Atari in particular. The Atari 2600 video game console. They knew they were going to have a hit on their hands with E.T. So they wanted to merchandise the shit out of it because it's a kid's movie. How else do you do that when you don't really have like action figures and shit like that? Well, what's popular? You have video games. Kids love video games. So they, like the studio, went to Atari and they said, make us a video game. Just snap your fingers, make us a video game. And for those not in the know, video games are incredibly hard to make.
They take years.
Even in 1982, when you could make a pretty good game in, let's just say, 9 to 12 months. But because the studio who was making the movie wanted to have this out like around the time of release, like they were like showing it to screening audiences and whatnot. They know it was going to be a hit, but they wanted this thing to come out alongside the movie. So Atari went to their best programmer. I can't remember the guy's name, but they went to their best programmer and said, okay, we got this contract. It's a bunch of fucking money. This movie studio wants us to make this game. So make us this game. And the guy sat down and started to make it. He made this game in not 9 to 12 months, not 6 months, not 3 months. Betsy, they made it in 5 weeks. And the game is horrible.
It's shit.
It is horrible. It is like notoriously the worst video game of all time, is what it's known as.
It's not an interesting story. They like stole the skin from another game, didn't they? And just kind of built it over another skeleton.
Something like that, yeah. So I won't even get into what the game is. It is a branded ET thing, and they wanted to have some kind of tie-in
and it's
with
full
the
of
movie.
Glitches and trash. It's bad.
It's just totally bad. It's not even like it's glitchy, but it's just not fun. You don't do anything. It's you can barely even finish it.
You're a tiny ET that runs around.
And there are like little Reese's Pieces, and there are like federal agents who are chasing you. That's it. Anyway, so the game comes out alongside the movie, and everybody wants to have it at first, but because of word of mouth, of course, there's no internet in 1982. Kids especially talk to each other on the playground. You could get one kid who got the game from their parents, and they would say to their friends, I just got this game. It sucks. Don't get it.
Yeah.
And
it tanked.
And it completely tanked. And because Atari and the movie studio expected this thing to just be a huge hit, they made millions of copies of it.
So many.
So many. They put it into mass production because it was coming out around the holidays. Everybody was going to have it. They had like TV ads for it. Come and get the new
Cash
ET video.
grab.
Oh my God. But what happened, Betsy?
It was such a failure that they took all the remaining copies and they literally took them to the dump.
Yeah.
They buried them.
There is a landfill. Was a landfill in New Mexico, I think?
Somewhere like that.
Yeah, somewhere in the Southwest United States, where they took all these recalled cartridges that would not sell. Would not sell.
Box.
Totally complete in box. Not just the cartridges, the boxes, everything. They took them, they recalled them, and they fucking dumped them. Because what else can you do with them?
Yeah, and there's actually a documentary. It's a pretty good documentary about a group that heard about this game.
Right.
They've heard these urban legends,
Yeah.
and they had an idea, an inkling of where it was, and they found them.
Because, yes, this actually did happen, but it was never confirmed until...
It was an urban myth.
Yeah. They just thought, somebody heard from somebody, they recall all those cartridges and they just dumped them in a landfill somewhere.
Because that sounds...
What? Really?
That sounds like the kind of thing they would do.
Yeah.
But you don't actually believe it.
Because Atari did not want to have the shame of this thing clouding their company.
Or just sitting on shelves forever.
Yeah, and in 1982, the video game industry was on shaky ground because... you really can't do much with an Atari, and kids were kind of getting sick of them, and they weren't really getting any better. So, and this is, of course, in 1982, the NES didn't come out until 85 in the U.S. So there was kind of a gap in there where the video game industry in the U.S. completely died until the NES came out and revitalized it.
So what did they do with E.T., the video game? They buried it. They
literally buried it.
Literally buried it.
Go find that documentary about it. It's really fascinating.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but
you can
find
figure it. You can figure it out. It's really fascinating. And it was because of their work. This documentarian did the work to find this thing. They weren't expecting to find it. No. At the very least, they were going to have a pretty interesting documentary on its own.
Talking to people about the game itself and the development
because
and the failure.
Because it was such a thing for this industry. And yeah, because they found it, it was that much more interesting.
So yeah, seek that out.
Anyway.
But coming back to the movie, the other thing I wanted to talk about, and I was reminded about it while we were watching this, there's the scene where Elliot is showing E.T., like, here's all my stuff, and those are fish, and here's this. And he says, this is Coke. You drink it. So, of course, you got Coca-Cola product placement. There is another movie that tried to cash in on the success of E.T. the Extra-Terrestrial. And it's a little movie called Mac and Me, about a little boy in a wheelchair who finds an alien. And I thought of this movie, not only because we were watching E.T., but because the aliens drink Coke. They live on a planet where they can just like shove a straw into the ground of the planet and suck up a fluid that apparently tastes like Coca-Cola.
Right.
And so when he I don't know if they crash land, but the parents, there's like a mom and a dad alien, and then a little boy and a little girl alien. And I say this because they're very naked and, lacking in genitalia, but they're indicating to the audience that that's who you're looking at. And they are terrifying, bug-eyed, wide-mouthed, creepy alien forms. And this little boy and the little boy alien become friends, and they drink Coca-Cola. And
as you do.
All I can say, I have seen this movie many times because for some reason I was drawn to this at the local video store, and we rented it over and over and over, and I don't know why, because the movie is arguably terrible. It is a bad movie. Bad movie. It is a ripoff straight up of E.T. It's made in the 80s, a few years after this one.
Completely low budget. No actors you would ever know.
Shot poorly, terrible special effects, awful costumes, bad music, bad plot. It's a bad movie, okay? I don't remember much about it other than it's terrible. And I'm probably not going to watch it again unless I really want to subject you to an evening of torment.
Oh, Betsy, we have a list of bad movies that we are going to watch eventually. It's on the list. I'm not saying we're going to watch it for thing.
We'll see.
But it's on the list.
It's on the list. If you guys want a taste of Mac and me, this movie lives on in infamy through one person alone. And that is...
Well, two people.
Well, specifically, it's Paul Rudd. Because Paul Rudd loves to inflict this on Conan O'Brien.
Yes.
So just look up Paul Rudd, Mac and me, Conan O'Brien.
Yeah.
He shows him the same clip as often as he possibly can. He found a way to play that damn clip on his podcast, a non-visual medium.
This has been going on for, 20 years?
Maybe not quite that long, but since late night.
Pretty long.
He did it to him on late night. I don't know if he had a chance on The Tonight Show, but he definitely did it several times on TNT, on Conan, and on his podcast. So, yeah, just check that out. Don't watch the movie, please, for the love of God. If you want to look up what it is, you can see what I'm talking about when I say these aliens that drink Coca-Cola are terrifying.
And all I need to see is that clip to know that movie is fucking terrible.
Yeah, it's not worth your time. But bringing it back to E.T., do you have any other final thoughts? Anything else you wanted to bring up about this one? I'm glad we finally watched this. So, we brought up, we're doing this thing about the decades, and we did 62, 72, and now 82. I think this is just a quintessentially 1982 movie. It has... If you ask people to name movies from the 1980s, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find almost anybody who doesn't name this within the first 5 movies.
And Betsy and I, when we were putting together all the movies from every year of each decade, there were a lot of movies in 1982 we could have chosen.
Absolutely.
But, Jesus, if we passed by this opportunity to make me watch E.T., we would not forgive ourselves.
I would have been a very foolish woman.
Yes. There's plenty of other movies from 82 that we will eventually watch. But yeah, this was the choice.
This is the choice.
It wasn't even a debate.
No, if you look at the highest grossing movies of 1982, E.T.
Yeah.
It's E.T., guys.
Anyway, one final thought before we get into an email. Did you notice the bike chase at the end of the movie was strikingly similar to the opening scene in Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift?
Oh, when they're all chasing each other through a new development? They're all chasing
each other through a brand new housing development in California.
This movie is far-reaching in its influence, Trent. And sometimes you find it
bad movies,
in the least expected places.
Being inspired by E.T.
I thought you liked Too Fast, Tokyo Drift.
It's Tokyo Drift. Too Fast, Too Furious is a hidden gem.
Sure, Trent. Keep telling yourself that.
Go listen to our Fast and Furious series if you haven't already. God damn it. Anyway, I'm done. E.T. is an awesome movie. I don't know if you heard that.
Well, I'm glad. So with that, we're going to throw it to an email. This is kind of a family movie, so we're going to do an email from Mitch about Coco. So we watched another family movie a few weeks ago with that one. Hey guys, it is so awesome that you guys decided to watch Coco. That one is a family favorite and absolutely pulls at the heartstrings. So does this one, E.T. did. We love the music and listen to those songs quite frequently. It appears you missed why he gets sent to the land of the dead. Well, they say that he stole from the dead, taking the guitar, and that is why he gets sent there. So when he gets back and steals it again, he goes directly back to where he was like 10 seconds earlier.
Yeah, and we did not catch that when we watched the movie. Stephanie also wrote us an email about the same thing. And yeah, we just didn't get that.
Yeah,
but it makes sense. It totally makes sense.
It totally makes sense. Sometimes I'm just so engrossed in what's going on, I don't see the obvious.
Yeah, it's taking from the dead as opposed to leaving them offerings.
Fair enough. Mitch continues, in the Pig podcast, you asked for suggestions for another Thon. Well, I think you need to choose an actress for your next one.
Yeah.
I would suggest following is redacted for the podcast.
Okay. We've thought about that. We've come up with some names, but not anybody in particular here. Geez, there's so many different ones that we could choose.
We could do 50 years of Meryl Streep and never run out of things to talk
Oh,
about.
yeah. We could do Meryl Streep. We could do Glenn Close. We could do, there's so many Audrey Hepburn movies. It's ridiculous how many people we could choose from.
Oh, that's why these kinds of marathons are really easy, because those prolific actors, it's just like, it's a font to choose from.
Right, and it's a lot more fun, not to denigrate any of the actresses, but it's a lot more fun to do the dudes, because the dudes have been allowed to do ridiculous movies.
That is fair, but he does have one final thought. I really think you could get some interesting perspectives from the actress side of things, and I think there are some actresses that kind of get to be dudes sometimes.
Yeah, and I'm totally into that.
So I think it would just be picking the right person.
Yes.
And it will come to us. And we'll do it eventually.
Yeah, we always have discussions about what we want to do here. And past, let's just say the end of October, we don't really have anything planned. So, yeah. I don't know.
So we'll see. But he finishes the email. Great choice of movies lately. Way to go. Mitch from Saskatoon, Canada. I say it that way because he put in a lot of ellipses. But
thanks, Mitch.
Thank you, Mitch. If you would like to be like Mitch and send us an email and tell us how you feel about E.T., the year 1972, the year 1962, if you would like to tell us about a movie you definitely know you saw in the theater but cannot remember a damn thing about.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things you can email us about. We want to hear from you. So email us, neverseenitpod@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter, neverseenit_pod. We're also now on Facebook and Instagram. If you'd like to message us on there, you could do that in lieu of an email.
Yep.
We accept all forms of communication. Those pages are neverseenitpod1. That's the number 1. You can also support the podcast by following the link in the podcast description. Or just share any of these posts with your friends and tell more people about what we're doing here on Never Seen It.
Hell yeah.
With that being said, we will continue on this journey on the next episode. We are moving into the 90s. We will be in 1992, a year that we actually were around for.
Yep.
Moving forward, we will have been present and accounted for, but we may get a pass for not having seen everything in 1992 because we were like 7 years old.
Indeed.
But for now, this has been Never Seen It. I have been Betsy.
And I'm Trent.
And we will catch you in the 90s!